Any football player or coach wants to take revenge for any offense or inconvenience caused, and to show that even the smallest dirty trick does not go unpunished, we'll go over some cases when a player was able to take revenge on his abuser. You are on the Foot History channel. Enjoy the video. Chelsea coach Jose Mourinho warmed up the atmosphere before the match with Arsenal. A few days before the game, in an interview, the Portuguese said that Arsenal's main star Thierry Henry knows how to score only against small clubs. How did the Frenchman respond to this? He scored 2 goals against Chelsea. Moreover, the second goal was scored very unexpectedly for the goalkeeper. During the execution of the free kick, the player went to shoot at the Chelsea goal, while the goalkeeper was still making a wall. And since the referee did not give instructions for hitting with the whistle, the goal was counted. And then in the post-match interview, Henry himself mocked Mourinho.
Well, like usual, like everyone says, I always scored in small games, so I think today must have been a small game again.
Lukas Podolski and Nuri Sahin collided in the center of the field. Then the German striker decided to mock the Turkish midfielder, recalling the recent game of the national teams of Germany and Turkey. 3-0 we took you out, 3-0, shouted Podolski. 40 seconds later, Sahin scores the winning goal in the 91st minute of the match. And during the celebration, not forgetting the humiliation from Podolski, Sahin rode on his knees next to and pointed his finger directly at him. But even after the game, Lucas tried to provoke Sahin by showing an indecent gesture so that he would lose control and attack the German, thus receiving a red card. But it didn't work out. Nuri simply ignored the opponent's provocation. During the 37th minute, Zlatan Ibrahivmovic fouled Joey Barton. After that, a conflict erupted between the players. Of course, the Brit didn't like such treatment. At first, he answered with words, and then realizing that the Swede could not be argued with, he teased Zlatan by depicting a nose on his face, poking fun at Ibrahimovic. The Swede was not taken aback and replied, "You're just an English mediocrity." In the end, he proved his superiority with his actions. Ibrahimovic simply scored 2 unanswered goals against Marseille, thereby knocking them out of the French Cup and taking his club to the quarterfinals. In 2012, before the Merseyside derby, Everton coach David Moyes, answering journalists' questions, said that Suarez had a reputation for being a simulator and that he was an ordinary diver, but Lewis did not pay attention to the claims of the Scottish specialist and scored a goal against Everton in the match. After that, he celebrated the goal in an unusual way. The Uruguayan ran up to the Everton coach's bench and mockingly simulated a dive, getting back at Moyes for his statements before the match.
What did you make of where and the way he celebrated the first goal?
I thought it was great. I would have probably done the same if I'd been the player. I might have done the same to him. If we'd won 3-2, I might have done one in front of him as well.
In the match between Arsenal and Manchester United, Thierry Henry began to mock the young Cristiano Ronaldo in every possible way. The Frenchman would either not give the ball to the Portuguese or would slap him on the head, after which the Gunners fans began throwing cups at the young Manchester United talent. But Cristiano took it all with dignity. First, he scored the first goal against Arsenal, and then he scored a double, not forgetting to show the Arsenal fans a gesture so that they would finally shut up. And here's a story that I told in detail in one of my videos. In 2014, De Bruyne released an autobiography in which he told about his ex-girlfriend cheating on him with a teammate. "My girlfriend Carolyn flew with friends to Madrid. There she began an affair with Courtois. I couldn't understand why Thibaut did that. It still hurts me to think about it." The midfielder held a grudge against the goalkeeper, but did not transfer their personal problems to work. Before the World Cup, the coach of the Belgian national team even wanted to exclude Courtois from the national team. "You are an important player in my team, and I understand that you and Courtois will not be able to play together," the coach said. "If you want, I can kick him out of the team." But Kevin refused. "Whatever the reasons, I cannot decide Thibaut's fate. He is a good goalkeeper and has earned the right to play for the national team." And on February 26, 2020, the midfielder had a chance to take revenge in the 1/8 Champions League match. At the end of the match, Kevin gave a pass to Jesus, and Manchester City broke even. Then, after the celebration, De Bruyne looked at Thibaut and waved his finger at him. 5 minutes later, he scored a penalty against Courtois. Luis Suarez had a very hard time leaving Barcelona. In numerous interviews, the Uruguayan said, "Koeman sent me to train on another field as if I were a 15-year-old player. It really upset me. When I came home, I cried because of it. I have never disrespected him. No matter what, I trained without showing any dissatisfaction. And then he called and told me that he was no longer counting on me. Our conversation lasted a maximum of 40 seconds. In his first season for Atletico, Luis managed to achieve victory in La Liga, and on October 2nd, 2021, Suarez finally took revenge on Ronald. At the end of the first half, the Uruguayan scored the second goal against Barcelona. He did not celebrate the goal against his former club, but still showed a gesture imitating a phone at his ear, which may have been addressed to Ronald Koeman, who was sitting with a phone by his ear the entire game due to a 2-match suspension. In the game for the Spanish Super Cup between Real Madrid and Atletico, Sergio Ramos hit Diego Costa in the face in a fight for the ball. Although the players discussed this incident, the striker held a grudge, and at a certain point in the match, Diego deliberately dropped Ramos in the fight for the ball and hit him on the head with his foot. In the decisive match between Borussia and Bayern, Neven Subotic, not holding back his emotions, began to mock Robben, putting him down after an unsuccessful penalty. Bayern lost the championship, but Robben remembered the humiliation from Subotic. A year later, Bayern met Borussia in an even more important match, in the Champions League final. There, the loser turned into a football killer. When Argan scored the winning goal in the 89th minute, the last one who could prevent it was Neven Subotic. But all that remained for the defender was to ride on his knees on the field next to the hero of the match. After the whistle, Robben's teammate Boateng ran up and mocked Subotic, thereby avenging his friend. In the 65th minute, Alaves striker Lucas Perez evened the score by successfully scoring a penalty. Immediately after the goal, Alex Vidal ran into the penalty area of Real Madrid. When celebrating the goal, the player showed a pretty inappropriate gesture to the Madrid fans. Real Madrid captain Sergio Ramos complained about Vidal's behavior to the chief referee. However, he did not remove the player from the field, although Vidal already had a yellow card. But after 5 minutes, Real Madrid was able to score the second goal against Alaves and achieve victory in the match. And at last, I will tell you one of the most famous revenge stories in football. It happened in 1997 in a game between Leeds and Manchester United. Alf-Inge Haaland was instructed not to let Roy Keane near the gate. In one of the episodes, trying to catch up with the ball, Keane tried to knock Haaland down, but after a second he twisted in terrible pain. Haaland was enraged by the opponent's behavior. He ran up to Roy and shouted, "There's nothing to simulate," and he ordered Tom to get up quickly and stop crying. But their collision led to Roy sustaining a serious injury. The player tore his ACL and was recovering for 11 long months. The Irishman wanted revenge for too long. 4 whole years had passed since that moment, and then Keane did something that is hard to believe. Haaland moved to Manchester City and faced Keane in the Manchester Derby. No one imagined then that the match would become so significant in the history of football. A terrible thing happened. An angry Keane flew into Haaland's knee with the spikes of his boot. Keane received a red card, and as he left the field, he bent over Haaland and shouted, "Stop simulating!" Haaland's injury was so serious that after a series of unsuccessful surgeries, he ended his career in the summer of 2003. In his autobiography, Roy wrote, "I had been waiting for that moment for too long. He got what he deserved. The ball was close. Take it, you bastard. Try coming up to me with a smile again and tell me that I'm faking." I recommend checking out the next video, how Wayne Rooney ruined his talent and how alcohol and parties ruined his career. See you later.